Hello everyone, Q&A time, again, the second Q&A with actual me, not animated me as I said in the announcement for this video. So first off, Daniel Harris asks, big fan, but is there any way to support you without spending money? So he's talking in reference to the Patreon. There's amazing ways to support me without spending money. Just watch the videos, support me, deal with me and all the rubbish I do on a regular basis. Like, follow, subscribe, share, all that sort of good stuff. Following on Twitter is always an amazing thing you can do, at NameExplainYT. And yeah, that's the best things you can do without spending money. Even that's just as good as not spending the money. So speaking of the Patreon, I actually have a couple questions from the Patreon. As I said, people who posted on Patreon would get top priority and all those questions will be answered. Adam R asks, how long have you had your current hair / facial hair look? So the facial hair I've had for quite a while now. The last time I was completely clean shaven was at the age of 20 when I shaved it, I think a couple of days just before my 20th birthday. But since then I've never been completely clean shaven. I can't unfortunately grow a full beard, so that's why I have like the goatee and mustache combo. The hair's a bit newer. I used to have just a huge horrible mess of hair, and recently I've started getting it cut, pulling it all back. I used to try and rock the Matt Smith sort of fringe, but it wasn't the best look, but I'm much happier with how it is now. Adam R also asks, what are good and bad things about the place where you live? Good things is there's some really nice nature where I live. I'm on the whole more of a city guy. It's hard to not appreciate the gorgeous countryside that's on my doorstep, as well as the sea, which is also on my doorstep. The worst thing about where I live is it's just so quiet. To get any sort of booming nightlife or anything exciting, you have to go to like the city next by. It's just, there's not much to do here. And finally, Adam R asks, do you have a real job? Adam R gets all these questions asked because he's part of the Patreon, as I said, so if you're on the Patreon, you could have asked as many questions as you wanted. Yes, I do have a real job. I work in a supermarket. If you're in my area and you're in the right supermarket, you might see me there stacking shelves, which would be weird. Olivia Anderson on the Patreon asks, top 5 albums. Ooh, okay, this is only including one album per artist. I would go Rubber Soul by the Beatles. Oh, these were in no particular order, by the way. Rubber Soul by the Beatles, Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie, Casanova by The Divine Comedy, The Man Machine by Kraftwerk, and I'm going to go with... Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of the band as a whole, but The Liberty of Norton Folgate by Madness is an insanely good album. They released it way after their peak, you know, the classic 80s sort of ska boom. It was released in about 2007, 2009, and it's nothing like any of their original stuff. It's just this one singular amazing album. Anyone should go listen to it right now. So over on the Patreon, Soliloquy has a huge question. Okay, I'm going to recite it now. If, completely hypothetical, a species of grey aliens would come to Earth, do you think one of them should or should not make informative YouTube videos? For me, personally, this is a very important, completely hypothetical question for you to answer. Furthermore, totally hypothetically, do you think the grey alien should be concerned if on a collaboration video on pre-Columbian Mesoamerican inventions comments came up suspecting his alienism? Also, how would this compare to, say, hypothetically, a balloon with a crudely drawn face on it tied to a broom masquerading as an educational YouTuber? Hypothetically, would being popped be worse or better than autopsied? Yes. Finally, over on the Patreon, Fable Reader asks, what video are you most proud of and which did you enjoy making most? So my personal favourite video on my channel is the Religion versus Mythology video. There's just something about that video that really tickled me. I found it really interesting and enjoyable. And I think it's got some of the nicest artwork, and that picture of Zeus I just love using for any reason whatsoever. And in regards to which video I enjoyed making most, I really loved my Mother's Day video, the Wise Mum Spelt of U in the UK and O in the US, because it got to cover a huge variety of topics. It got to talk about history, like with Mammy, culture, how that word's been perceived culturally. Got to delve into like Proto-Germanic languages, all that sort of Proto-Germanic, Proto-Indo-European languages, real good stuff. And it also got to delve into child language acquisition, which is a subject I'm really hugely fascinated in. It's really fascinating and you should read more into it too. Samuel asks, can you explain my name? So yes, I can explain your name. It's the top tier over on my Patreon. So the top tier on my Patreon is if you donate that much money, I will make a personal customized video explaining your name. And I know Patreon has the whole concept of paying per month, but do not worry, you can just pay it once, then quit your Patreon or cut it down to just $1 or whatever you want to do. But you will pay that, you will get your video made. Think of it as like a commission. Mac Joan asks, would you live in Thailand or Taiwan? I don't know. They're both the same place, aren't they? I mean, they have really similar names, don't they? Does not everyone think that? Peter Jones asks, do you listen to any podcasts, and if so, what are your favourites? I listen to a small selection of podcasts on a very regular basis. There's ones that have come and gone, so I used to listen to Cortex, but I don't listen to Cortex anymore because I just didn't enjoy it as much as Hello Internet, which I do listen to on a regular basis. Same with Welcome to Night Vale, I used to listen to that on a regular basis and just kind of fell out of it. But podcasts I'm still listening to this day, Athletico Mints is hugely funny if you're a fan of British comedy and just general weird stuff. Hello Internet, as I already mentioned. Stephen Larson's Going Raw, really good, solid wrestling podcast, and they make a podcast every day, so I've got constant content to just binge and enjoy. Oh, and of course, my first favourite podcast, The Weekly Planet, which is a comic book movie podcast, which is, that's my top favourite podcast. How did I forget to mention that in the first place? My dog's just entered the room. Yeah, she'll just ignore her. She'll go in a bit. Cubs0110 asks, is there any kind of video that you'd like to create but don't think would fit on this channel? So it's not so much is there any kind of video I'd like to create, there's just channels that I'd like to create that aren't name explained. I have a list of channel ideas on my phone that I update on a regular basis. The one that comes most to mind is Myths, Legends and Lore, which I've talked about on Twitter a while back. It would be a channel what makes videos like name explain, that quick animated information style, but talking about myths and legends and lore from around the world. Chan R asks, what suggestions do you have for people who want to start a YouTube channel but with no experience? Just do it. Know what sort of videos you want to make and just plow on with it. Making YouTube videos might seem really easy for some. There's a lot of channels that just spring up overnight, but you might not be that person. If you are that person, awesome. But just building up traction on YouTube is like moving a mountain sometimes. You've just got to have that sheer grit and force of will and determination to just make it happen. Brian Matthews asks, what is the most tempting slippery slope topic that is close to names? So I guess that would be a video about Donald Trump. I've actually started writing a script about Donald Trump's name, you know, the whole Donald Trump thing, but I just never made it because I don't really want to target that demographic, and it wouldn't be a very good longevity video. It might do well when it first comes out, but other than that, it will probably just stay on the channel, and I try and stay away from topical content. I'd like to just have content that can be enjoyed anytime. James Carter asks, do you think pineapple belongs on pizza? No, I might be vegetarian, but I'm not an awful human. Luca just asks, how are you? I'm good, thanks. How are you? Dog. Mr. Beppo HD asks, what is your favourite video game? I think Super Mario Galaxy is the best video game ever made, and probably my personal favourite video game. I used to think it was Pokemon, the red and blue ones, and Banjo-Kazooie, but I think that was mainly nostalgia speaking, because Pokemon Red and Blue, I love them to bits, but those games are an absolute mess. And same with Banjo-Kazooie, I love it to bits, but it just frustrates me so much sometimes. So I'm going to be more modern, I guess it's still a fairly newish game in the grand scheme, and say Super Mario Galaxy, because that game is amazing. And yes, I have huge high hopes for Super Mario Odyssey. My Archive of Awesomeness asks, what do you watch in your free time? So I don't watch much TV in my free time. If I've got free time, I'd rather play a video game or listen to a podcast or audiobook. But at the moment, I'm currently watching through American Horror Story with my girlfriend, and it's really, really good. I don't know if you've watched it, but I'd highly recommend watching it. It's a really fun, unique series. And of course, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter, but you'll know one of the main things I do watch in my spare time is professional wrestling. I'm a huge mark for wrestling. I'll be honest with you, I do only really watch WWE. I would like to delve more into the New Japan side of things and Ring of Honor, and I do occasionally watch a bit of WCPW, but on the whole, I just stick to WWE, but I watch it very, very religiously. Hashida Taki asks, Patrick, is mayonnaise an instrument? No, Hashida, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Marja1 asks, how long have you been vegetarian? So, not a huge chunk of my life. I've only been vegetarian since about January 2016, so just over a year and a half now. and I am enjoying it. I'm not going to tell you to be vegetarian. You can eat whatever you want to eat. But personally, I dig it. Aditya Gupta asks, would you consider creating a second channel? I have a second channel already, name Explain After Dark. You had to see that in the side part of my channel. I'm pointing the wrong way. Side part of the channel, up there somewhere. I'll put a link up there. So I'm getting used to the mirror imaging. Hi FCC asks, what is your favourite hobby? So, as I said previously, I like to play video games, I like to listen to podcasts, and honestly, making these videos is something of a hobby to me. This is probably my favourite hobby. I just luckily earn a bit of money from doing this hobby as well. Of course, watching pro wrestling as well. I'd love to actually pro wrestle, but that's a story for another time. And following on from that question, I have a second question about hobbies, saying, how much of a hobby is Lego for you? So yes, hi FCC, Lego is probably one of my favourite hobbies. And also Onat, who asked how much of a hobby is Lego for you? I don't do it as much as I'd like to. It's expensive stuff, and it's more actually, I mean, you guys have noticed how much rubbish there is in my room. I would love to buy more Lego. For the last couple of years, I've been looking at the Detectives Office set. Oh my god, that thing is gorgeous. And every time I go to put it in my basket on the Lego shop, I back out at the last minute. But I need to buy that one day. I might treat myself to it at some point. At 100k subscribers, if we ever get there, I'll buy the Lego Detectives Office set. Hold me to that. The Good News channel asks, what has been the most impactful experience you've had since starting your YouTube journey? This can sound really sad, and he might possibly be watching this, but a while back, I received a Twitter message from Zidnaf. If you don't know Zidnaf, he's a educational YouTuber. He's a real huge inspiration of mine. And he just messaged me saying, oh, make good videos. And I was absolutely blown away by that. Because he was someone I inspired to, someone I watched before I even made Name Explain. He was just a channel I watched. Hearing from him and him saying, I'm making good videos was just amazing. Noah Willett asks, as a Bowie fan, what do you consider to be his worst album? So yeah, I'm a huge David Bowie fan. And in regards to his worst album, he's had quite a few bad albums. I mean, like I said, I'm a big Bowie fan, but I'm a big enough fan to know he's made some absolute rubbish in his time. His worst album, I probably haven't actually listened to, Never Let Me Down, because I've just heard it's nothing but awful, and I don't need that in my life. But in regards to albums of his I have listened to, I think are awful. Tin Machine, for some reason I've listened to both 1 and 2. They're both awful. And also Tonight. A lot of people give Tonight a lot of slack, but I think it's quite okay. The main song Tonight is decent. Loving the Alien is awesome. Blue Jean is awesome. And I quite like Don't Let Down as a bit of a guilty pleasure song. And finally, Astrocraft asks, what will you do once you've explained all the names? End the channel. I'll just close shop, say it's been nice knowing you all, goodbye. But realistically, I don't know if I am going to be able to explain all the names. There's quite a few names in the world. Literally of names of countries, then you get names of cities and just geographical things and just names of anything. There's so many videos I want to make. And even if somehow I do explain all the names, I would probably just go into explaining like words and phrases and just language as a whole. So there we go, guys. I hope that wasn't too much of a shambles. Like I said, there's no script. I didn't want a script. I just wanted to talk to you guys more personally. We were invaded by a dog, and she is glowing in the sunlight right now, bless her. It's actually got quite nice out now here in England, and she is enjoying the sunshine. She even looks a little bit dead.